Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Wanna go over some notes on Borderlands 4 as they have put out an official PC specifications article and post, and I have some issues with this that I'll get to in a little bit. The game in general is a little bit under fire. There's some social media posts going around as far as early performance data of the game. Bear in mind that the game is going to have a day one patch. There are the NVIDIA drivers that are available right now, and there are issues. And also, Pitchford has spoken a little bit about it, and we'll go over one of his tweets. And guys, look, I've been around the block with PC gaming for quite a while. I've played damn near every major game that has come out this year. Metal Gear Solid, Delta Snake Eater, Mafia Definitive Edition. A lot of games recently that have had a lot of issues on PC, and I've experienced a lot of those issues. While I haven't played a lot of Wushang myself, a close friend of mine did play Wushang, and that game was a disaster on his PC as well, and that's a PC we use for some of the testing on this channel when we do upload that content. But again, I've seen a lot of the major games, and generally I know some of the things to look out for when you see the writing on the wall a little bit that a PC version could have some problems. I'm not saying it's going to be a disaster, I'm saying it could have some problems, but before I get into this video, I do want to mention our friends over at Green Man Gaming. They do have Borderlands 4 discounted using the code SEP15, SEP15. You'll save 15% off on whatever edition of the game, Standard Edition, Deluxe Edition, Super Deluxe Edition. So check that out, link in the description box below. They support the channel, so you should support them. You get a Steam key. You don't pay tax either, so that is great. So let's talk a little bit about it. So I have been hoping that week of release that they would put out an in-depth PC specifications article. You see this a lot where you'll have the minimum and recommended requirements that are visible for a while, but then they do a big lengthy post on specifics, sometimes week of release. Some studios and publishers are cool about it and they'll put it out 4 or 5 weeks ahead of time. In the case of Borderlands 4, 2 days before the release of the game, I believe this article dropped yesterday, and the biggest glaring issue of this is the fact that there are only 2 tiers of system requirements. Look, there's one thing if a game that's a AA release, a middling release, has only 2 tiers of system requirements. This is Borderlands 4. This is a juggernaut of a game release. And on top of that, this is a game that is tied to PC gaming. Like, Borderlands is one of those franchises that is so, attached to PC. By the way, I believe if you buy certain NVIDIA video cards that you get Borderlands 4 for buying those NVIDIA video cards. It should be something that there's a lot of nuance, depth, and clarity in terms of what is gonna be going on with this PC release. And what do I mean by this? Look, you got minimum and recommended tiers. You don't even get is minimum running this game at 1080p 30 FPS? Is it running it at 4K 30 FPS? Is it running at low settings, medium settings? Nobody knows. That level of clarity not being available for a game like Borderlands 4 alongside it having 2 tiers of system requirements, that is probably the biggest red flag and the biggest alarming sign of a potential bad PC version that you're gonna come across. On top of that, this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and we all know the story with Unreal Engine 5, but again, those 2 factors that I just mentioned, only 2 tiers of system requirements, and again, it would be one thing if this is a port of a 10-year-old game that, I don't even know, if this is a port of the Order 1886 or something like that, and even then, that would be a Sony-published game, and Sony does a pretty good job of giving you like 6 tiers of system requirements or 4 tiers of system requirements. This is Borderlands 4. This is a massive, massive game, and you're only giving 2 tiers of system requirements, and on top of that, you're not even giving us any clarity as far as how this game is going to be performing with those system requirements. And to go over those again, I mean, we already went through this once. Minimum Intel Core i7 9700, AMD Ryzen 7 2700X, 16 gigs of RAM, RTX 2070 or an RX 5700 XT. Recommended is an i7 12700, 32 gigs of RAM, RTX 3080 and RX 6800 XT. RTX 3080, while it is a couple generations old, that was a beast of a GPU just a couple of years ago when it came out, and that being recommended, again, you could have a GPU like that being recommended, but if you're recommending a top-level GPU like that, give me some clarity, give me some, at least, transparency as on how is a 3080 gonna run this game. I don't know. They're not telling us, and that is always a big red flag when it comes to, look, again, I've covered these games for eons and eons. You can kind of sometimes see these things coming from a ways away, and this is one that I kind of see it coming a ways away, and I think a lot of other people have started picking up on that as well. And again, it's gonna be a visually good-looking game. There's gonna be a lot of chaos on the screen, and you can say, hey, it's gonna be one of those more intensive games. I get that to an extent, but at the same time, have a little bit of clarity. Give me some, at least, ballpark estimates as far as what kind of performance and settings, and the fact they're not giving you those estimates, again, that is such a big red flag. And there's posts circulating on social media about the early performance. I don't want to talk too much about that because, again, it is what it is as far as the early performance, and that's why you can't really talk about it. Oh, the performance is going to get better with the day one patch. Everything's just going to get fixed overnight. I'm telling you guys, while there's crashing in the pre-release builds, I'm telling you, when that day one patch comes out, everything's going to be fixed. And that's why whenever I personally get a early copy of a PC game, and it's like, how do I even assess this game's PC performance? Because there is this mythical day one patch that everybody talks about that is suddenly going to fix everything, and that's why it's so difficult, and I do have a level of empathy for people covering the PC version of these games. It's like, dude, we know that there's going to be drivers, there's going to be performance updates, so you really can't even talk about the performance, but do those drivers and those updates ever fix performance across the board? Generally, they don't. Oh, but if you use frame gen, you'll get 70 frames per second, and that's what I'm talking about with frame gen and DLSS. That is when it's being used as a crutch. It is not being used as something complimentary anymore. It is being used as a crutch to get decent performance, and that shouldn't be the case if you have a 30-80. Moving on from that, Randy Pitchford put out a tweet as far as the day one patch is concerned. And this mythical day one patch, the day one patch, that's gonna fix everything. $130 be damned, the day one patch is gonna solve everything. The day one patch does a lot. That said, the game expectation for using a below min-spec machine should be that the game is unplayable. Okay, so anything under a 2070, if you have a 2060, it'll be unplayable. That the game runs on all your system is a miracle. That you can get 55 to 60 FPS out of heavy combat is actually incredible given how the engine and what's going on under the hood. Your specification doesn't indicate if you're on SSD or HDD, but that could also explain some of the hitching. It's a big, bold, new, seamless world, and I'm sorry to say that older hardware may not provide a buttery smooth performance for the latest gen AAA games, as has always been the case since the dawn of PC gaming. Again, it's not about running minimum specs. Randy Pitchford, in a creative way, just hit you with the make sure your system requirements match what we have rolled out. Bro, I'm not trying to run this game on my GT 8800. Nobody is doing this. It's always that, you guys. I swear that is the default go-to, and we don't even know if this PC version is bad, but that's the default go-to, and that's why I have these unhinged meltdowns whenever I have to read the apology notices from these studios, and it's always like, make sure your PC requirements are up to date, make sure you're Bro, nobody's on an 8800 GT, nobody's on a GTX 1060 playing Borderlands 4, at least I don't think so. The majority, I shouldn't say nobody, there's probably somebody out there trying to run the game on a toaster, and fair play to you, but the majority are playing the game with reasonable reasonable hardware, and they generally get cooked as well. But nonetheless, we'll see how that ultimately turns out as far as that's concerned. And a 2060, I feel, should still be able to run this game, given that this game does run on the Xbox Series S. The Series S! So, like, I'm not saying you should get 60 FPS maxed out on the 2060, but I would assume, I would like to think that it would be able to run on the 2060 at 30 FPS or whatever the case may be, and it's going to run on the Switch too. So, nonetheless, not trying to have an unhinged meltdown, but I kind of see the writing on the wall that this is going to be one that has some issues. And generally, with PC gaming these days, it's better to believe that a game's going to have issues, especially an Unreal 5 game, than it's not. Delta Snake Eater had issues, Mafia had issues, Wu Shang had issues. It is issues across the board, even if you have good hardware, and that's when it stings the most. People want to talk about, make sure your hardware is up to date. You guys, when your hardware is up to date and you've got some of the newer hardware, you meet those requirements, you beat out those requirements, you might have spent $1,500, $2,000 on your PC, and then you got performance issues, and then you got crashes. that's when it stings the most. And if you guys have a higher end PC, y'all know how this game goes. When you have a higher end PC, that's really when the performance issues sting the most. It's not when you have a GTX 1060 and you could at least use that as an excuse and be like, oh, I got older hardware. No, it's when you have the newest hardware and then you still have issues. And it stings a little bit more when you have a $1,500 PC and the game's still running poorly. But I digress. That's gonna do it for me. Fingers crossed that it doesn't it's not an absolute disaster, but for those of you that are gonna wait the 6 to 8 months or maybe even a couple years to pick up Borderlands 4, might end up paying dividends. But I digress. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.